Greetings, brothers. Welcome to the Blood Angels Commander channel.
Hello, good evening. Here, let me get my buttons right. This one. Good evening. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Sunday night show. We have had a lot of submissions since the new codex, like more than I can review. So tonight is kind of a Patreon special. Every single person that submitted their list over in Patreon, which I think there was 4 lists, we're going to do 4 of them. Then we're going to dive back into YouTube members. I've got 2 YouTube members up tonight, so we're going to do 6 lists as normal. We'll be here for maybe an hour, hour and a half. There is still members lists we haven't got to, though. There is still non-members lists we haven't got to. I see a huge amount of green names in the chat tonight, so thank you so much for the ongoing support. I do really appreciate it, guys. But we'll do what we can, right? We're getting into everybody's new lists. We're talking about the new points. I should probably open the new points in another tab in case... let me just bring those up, because someone's going to mention new points costs. I'm not going to have them in front of me like a chump. So let me, Warhammer community downloads. Let me just bring these up for when they inevitably get mentioned. And I'm like, I don't know what those things points are yet. But how is everybody? Good evening, good evening, good evening. Key rules and... where the hell are the points? Here they go. Okay, cool. Blood Angels, the best and only Marine faction worth talking about, right? Oh, better not say that. Marius, hello. Good evening. Apparently it's 5:30 in Australia. Good morning to Australia then. Good evening to Europe, and I guess good afternoon to America. Hello, everybody. Let's get into army lists. We're going to start with Chad, who hopefully has got a Chad list here. He has been a member on Patreon for a little while. So, Liberator Assault Group, 1990 points. We've got Speed of the Primarch on a Captain. We've got Rage Fueled Warrior on the Judiciar. Interesting choice, actually. And Gift of Foresight on the other Judiciar. I think this is the first time we've seen Rage Fueled Warrior on the Judiciar. I suppose it's not the worst idea. He does have precision. He does have devastating wounds. Okay, interesting. Hello, Chad. You are here. Indeed, you are. Come at me, bro, is the name of the army list. We have Mephiston. Obviously, you can't customize him. We have the Sanguinar. We have the Captain with the Fight First, who has... that's a Captain on foot, right? We've got the Judiciar with Gift of Foresight. We've got another Judiciar with Rage Fueled Warrior. Then we've got Tech Marine. So we've got 3 Fight First in this list. Possibly overkill in terms of how much Fight First you actually need. But I guess let's see. We have 3 squads of Blade Guard, all with 6. So I suppose the Captain, the Judiciar, and the other Judiciar just all lead. So you basically have 3 Fight First Blade Guard blocks. That's pretty crazy, man. I was going to say, I'd half expect you to take 3 Impulsors at that point, right? You've got the Sanguinar for Fight First. You got Mephiston for Fight. Yeah, you're spending too many points on Fight First. I'll tell you that. Like, I'll tell you that for nothing. I don't think you need. Well, let's see what you've got. You've got Infiltrators for the backfield. You've got a couple of Scouts for scoring. You've got 3 Destructors, which you know that, I'm sure if you watch the channel, you know that I absolutely love. You actually have a Tech Marine there, so you're actually going to try and keep those Destructors a little bit more alive, maybe. You've got 3 Impulsors with the Shield Domes. So 5 units with fight first, 3 impulsors and 2 scouts to do secondaries, 3 destructors for lots of DC power. DC power. What the hell does DC power mean? Oh, for the loss. Oh, I thought it said lots. Sorry. That's my dyslexia kicking in. For the loss of Death Company power. Tech Marine had leftover points. Warlord, since he's least likely to die. I might do a secret mission if he walks up the board with a Predator / Impulsor. Thought about putting Rage-Fueled Warrior on him since he will most likely have a vehicle die and then he gets an attack buff. I actually think it's kind of interesting to have the Rage-Fueled Warrior on the Judiciar. I think that is better than having it on the Tech Marine, but you're right, the Tech Marine will die. How many attacks does he go up to when the vehicle dies? It's like 7 attacks or something. I mean, he doesn't have... He's not on a 2-up weapon skill, right? He gets 4 attacks, he goes up to 7, but he is on WS3, the Judiciar, so he gets 9 attacks on the charge. I mean, it's not the worst idea for Rage-Fueled Warrior. That's kind of funny that you can put Rage-Fueled Warrior on a Tech Marine and have him with sustained 3 and 9 attacks. Judiciar gets 6 on the charge with Rage. Okay, I mean, I guess... I feel like I think it's probably more reliable than the Judiciar, but I guess it's not the worst idea in the world. And the Tech Marine, you opted... Oh, right, you've maybe changed that. Fine. The Sanguinar and Mephiston can do some secondaries since Lone Op and Fight First. The name is Anikul in Discord. I chose a captain over the chaplain, do the free strat each turn. He can Savage Echoes and pop Fight First. To follow up next turn with Insane Bravery if needed. Yeah, I mean, Savage Echoes and Fight First is fine enough, I guess. I do think a chaplain is the stronger choice to lead the Blade Guard. Thanks so much, Victorpers, for subscribing. I do think a chaplain is the stronger choice to lead the Blade Guard, but I guess a captain isn't the worst idea. You could Armor of Contempt the Blade Guard. You could do some other stuff like Advance and Charge. So I said before we saw many people making lists for the new codex that it wouldn't be too long before somebody ran like 3 Impulsors. I thought if you were going to be running 3 Impulsors, you'd probably do like 1 Blade Guard and like 2 Assault Intercessors, but I mean, Blade Guard are a very, very good unit for Blood Angels at the moment. The reason I think I prefer the Chaplain, though, there's 2 reasons probably, is 1, you're only going to be able to play Red Rampage on 1 unit of Blade Guard. The Chaplain means that that unit that's led by the Chaplain doesn't need Red Rampage, so you basically have 2 squads of Blade Guard that can essentially have +1 to wound. I do think Blade Guard benefit a lot from +1 to wound. They are only strength 7. So like if you're going into high toughness, like toughness 10, 11, 12, you are wounding on 5s. I think +1 to wound is a huge buff to that. So I think I prefer the Chaplain because you pay the stratagem for 1 to get +1 to wound, and then you do the Chaplain and the other squad to get +1 to wound, so both Blade Guard get +1 to wound. You don't have any jump pack units, which I guess is a little bit of a disappointment. You do have quite a lot of like 3 Impulsors, 2 units of Scouts. That's quite a lot of stuff that can perform actions. I think the big thing that I would change in this list probably is Mephiston or the Sanguinar. I would choose one of them, and I think you can choose either because you've got 10 points left over. I think what I would do with those 130 or so points, I would take a 5-man Death Company unit. They're literally 130 points. So a 5-man Death Company unit, I believe, can take 2 Power Fists, an Eviscerator, 2 guys with the Chainswords. That gives you some jumpy units. I mean, you could take 3 Sangre Guard, but I think 3 Sangre Guard would get 15 attacks on the charge. AP 3, Strength 6. Let me just think about that for a second. So if you had 130 by like you'd get 15 at Strength 8, AP 3, Damage 2. So like a maximum of 30 damage. If you had the Death Company, what do you get? You get 8 Power Fists at strength 10, EP 2, damage 2. You get the 4 Eviscerators at strength 9, AP 2, damage 2. And then you get 10 Chain Swords at strength 6, AP 1, damage 1. So that would be, what, 24... So the Death Company could do slightly more damage, but obviously the Sanguinary Guard have more EP. You know what? Maybe it doesn't really matter. Maybe you could... Like, I think I would lose Mephiston or the Sanguinar, because I don't think you need both of them, not with already 5 scoring units, not with already 3 fight first squads. I think I would probably keep the Sanguinar, so that when the enemy charge you, you can have 2 of your fight first units jump into that combat. But I think having a jump pack unit here would be really good, just because you don't have any, and jump pack units are kind of the backbone of Blood Angels, and I always seem to find at the end of the game, when the game's a bit strung out and the enemies are weak, that's when jump pack units kind of always win the game for me. So I would try and have something that is jump pack. I think you could do 3 Sanguinary Guard. I feel like it's just 3 models. I feel like the 5 Death Company is the safer choice. But I think that realistically, there's probably not much in it. And if you did swap out that captain for the chaplain, then the Death Company potentially have a chaplain that gives them OC and stuff. If you're not wanting to swap out that captain, then I guess probably run 3 Sanguinary Guard. Start them in reserve, bring them in to kill something that can't survive 15 strength 8 hits, you know. And I think that's more useful than... Like, I get Mephiston can be good, I get the Sanguinar can be good, but one of the main reasons that they are good is because of the fight first, but all 3 of your melee units already have fight first. So I think at some point you just... Like, I only run 1 fight first unit, and I feel pretty okay with that. I've gone to tournaments before multiple times running fight first units. I think I've even gone to a tournament where I run like 2 fight first units. I think at some point you're just like... You just put the fight first unit in harm's way because you know they fight first. So at some point, having 5 fight first units, you're paying a lot of points, and you're probably not getting a huge value out of it. Jim says a couple of units of jump intercessors might actually be good here. Yeah, you're probably right, Jim. Like, the problem, I guess, is they are expensive right now. I mean, maybe you don't need the Tech Marine. Like, drop Mephiston and the Tech Marine, 3 units of Assault Intercessor. Sorry, 2 units of Assault Intercessors with jump packs. Maybe just is better as well. But I think, like, three Destructors, 3 Impulsors, 3 units of Blade Guard that are all fight first is going to be pretty hard for the opponent to break down. And it's definitely got enough scoring. It's got the Infiltrators for the backfield as well. I don't own 18 Blade Guard. I actually don't know that many people that own 18 Blade Guard, but I think it could be actually pretty interesting. Joey says, if you're running Dante plus the Sanguinary Guard, 2 times 10 jump pack Death Company and 2 times 5 jump intercessors, how many generally would you start in Deep Strike? Joey, I always try and start at least 1 or 2 of my Alpha Strike units in Deep Strike. So units that you guarantee you want to make the charge with and you want to do a lot of killing, start them in Deep Strike. And yeah, maybe that's something you could do in this list as well, right? Like, if you could have 2 units of Jump Intercessors in Deep Strike, or you could have a unit of Death Company or Sanguinary Guard in Deep Strike. I think it just gives you one more option, Chad. I don't think this is bad. I think I'd probably run it. I really love the Predator Destructor. I really love Impulsors. I really love Blade Guard with Fight First. I think the Chaplain is the strongest choice for the Blade Guard. And yeah, I think maybe if you just diversify a little bit on these characters, you actually have a really strong list. I think without jump units, it's more a traditional melee pressure army that you can counter and move blocking and screen. Yeah, I think you're probably right. Like, you do want at least 1 or 2 jump units, because they just jump over enemy models and they just put pressure where pressure needs to be. And I actually don't think that 5-man Death Company is all that bad. Because, like, if you take the 5-man Death Company before, when they had all power fists, right? The maximum damage they could do before was 40. Well, now they do 34. So they really only lost like 15% of their damage output. The points cost went down 10 points. So they lost 15% damage, the point cost went down 6 or 7%, but I think we can all agree 5 Death Company with 5 Power Fists was batshit crazy before. It was so powerful. Like, it was obnoxiously powerful. Like, for the last year, everybody ran, maybe not everybody, but like 80% of Blood Angels competitive players ran like somewhere between 10 and 30 Death Company with Power Fists and Infernal Pistols. Because it was obnoxiously good. It was obnoxiously good when it was like 115 points. They put it up to 140 points. It was still obnoxiously good, right? So it's something to consider when people are writing off that 5-man Death Company. I don't think you should be writing them off just straight away, because I actually think they are still pretty good. And they are a bit cheaper than they were before, so you potentially could have more of them. Okay, so we've got 94 people tuning in tonight. We have 23 likes on the stream, guys. If you get 2 seconds tonight, please consider liking the stream. It does help me out ever so much. I do appreciate it. Trying to get to 20,000 subscribers, so every like helps me get there, so thank you very much. All right, let's look at Chandler. Chandler Bing came into my head. I don't know anyone in real life called Chandler. So, Chandler. I hope you like this list. I've been paying attention to a lot of your recent videos, and I've followed your recommended list to the best of my ability. Obviously, we are Blood Angels, so jump packs are a must. Don't tell Chad, who just put in his list, because he's like, Chad doesn't care about jump packs. Dante will be leading the Sangre Guard. I plan to start them in the Repulsor. I think that's a cool combo. I personally think Lamartez is the best for Jump Death Company, and they will be Rapid Ingress. I mean, Lamartez is a very strong choice. I actually think you can do any of the 3. Astaroth, Lamartez, or the Chaplain, and they're all good choices. I plan to have the Chaplain and the Blade Guard hop in the Repulsor after Dante's squad hops out, so they can get a bigger move in turn 2. My anti-tank package is the Ballistus and a Lancer. Is good anti-tank package. I personally have got good results from those 2. Infiltrators of the home objective. I make sure to include plenty of cheap fast units in the form of jump intercessors and outriders. I used to play 2 squads of intercessors, but decided to try the outriders instead. I love it. Outriders coming back. I think they're cool. Okay, so we've got the Chaplain with Fight First. He's leading the Blade Guard, sorry. Dante is the Warlord leading the Sangre Guard. Lamarta is leading a Death Company. We've got 1 squad of Assault Intercessors on foot. That's the only battle line. We have 2 Assault Intercessors with jump packs. We have a Ballistus Dreadnought. We've got the Blade Guard. We've got the 10 Death Company. We've got the Gladiator Lancer. We've got the Infiltrators. We've got the double Outriders. We've got the Repulsor. Oh, shit. And we've got the Sangre Guard. Okay, this is a pretty interesting list. This isn't a million miles from what I'm running at the moment, actually. Let me think. The differences is... So I'm running Astaroth. I am not running Assault Intercessors on foot. I am running 2 of these. I'm running a Ballistus Dreadnought. I am running Blade Guard. I am running Death Company Marines. I'm not running a Lancer. I'm running a Destructor, which is a little bit cheaper. We've got Infiltrators, we've got Outriders, and the Repulsor. Okay, so basically I have a cheaper tank. I don't have a Ballistus Dreadnought. And I don't have Assault Intercessors on foot. Well, I've got Centurions, which makes things a little bit interesting. I must have something else in my list that I'm not comparing. I'm going to look just for a second. Just want to... Because I'm quite happy with my list, but I need to get a few more reps in it. Oh, I've got an Impulsor. He doesn't have an Impulsor? So, all right, because he's going to put the Blade Guard inside the Repulsor afterwards. Okay, so the main difference is he has Assault Intercessors on foot. I have an Impulsor. He has a Ballistus Dreadnought. I have Assault Centurions. And he has a Gladiator Lancer. I have a Predator Destructor. So, I mean, those things to me feel like... you know, like, they don't change the overall majority of the list very much at all. I I like double outriders. I think they're good. They'll trade early in the game. They'll score points. I like double jump intercessors. They're good. They'll score points. They'll kill stuff. A lancer and a ballistic dreadnought, backed up with a repulsor as well, is a decent amount of ranged firepower. You've got like, what, 2 las cannons, 2 crack missiles, plus the 2 heavy laser destroyer shots, plus the las talon, plus the twin-linked las cannon, plus like a hunter killer missile as well, or a hunter slayer missile. I think this is probably somewhere... To me, this is actually a really interesting list, right? Because, like I said, there's no difference between Astaroth and Lamartis. But what's interesting is this list actually leans a tiny little bit more shooting than my list. My list, I have got those Assault Centurions in my list. And we know Assault Centurions are super slow, but sometimes, like, Assault Centurions can trade up something horrific. Like, 3 Assault Centurions can kill a knight. So they cost 150 points. They can kill a 500-point unit per turn. They, like, had a game like 2 weeks ago where one turn they killed like a 500-point knight. The next turn they kill another 500-point knight. So Assault Centurions can be amazing, but they can also be difficult to get around, and they move 4 inches, and they're kind of slow as shit. So it's interesting to see that, like, in my case, I could lose the Assault Centurions. I still have like a 10 Death Company with a character. I'd still have Dante with a 6 Sangre Guard. I'd still have Blade Guard with the Chaplain. I'd still have 2 units of Jump Intercessors. I'd still have 2 units of Outriders for scoring. Still have Infiltrators for the backfield. I don't know if I can critique this much more than to say this is the sort of list that I would play at the moment and that I like.
Brad Pache donated $10 via Super Chat. I know you like Outriders. What do you think of the Chaplain on bike leading them? Seems like that could be nice, getting +1 to wound on melee and dev wounds on range.
Brad, thank you so much for the Super Chat. I like Outriders a lot, yeah. I run 2 units in every list. I've been running them I've been running 2 units in my list since May, and I just think that because the Chaplain's like 75 points, which is literally another unit of Outriders, I think I would just add another unit of Outriders over adding the Chaplain, because the Outriders aren't, the way I see it, they aren't a very damaging unit, right? Like, you get 6 AP1 bolter shots from them, so statistically, you hit like 4 times. If you're fighting orcs, you probably only end up like killing an orc with the bolters. So I think if they had dev wounds, it wouldn't make a whole lot of difference. It's not enough weight of fire to be that useful. And then I guess like you only get 15 chainsword attacks as well. So you only hit 10 times. +1 to wound on 10 attacks doesn't really feel like nearly as meaningful as, like, if you put +1 to wound on that Death Company unit that gets like 22 attacks now or something, like that feels way more meaningful. So it's like, I have that Chaplain on the bike. And I know he's 75 points, but I just think that there's only 3 Outriders in the squad. They probably die maybe fairly quickly. So I think I would just have more Outriders. Like, I haven't tried it, but I don't know if it feels like it would be impactful enough. And the thing about running Outriders is I don't think you want to run 6 Outriders, because their bases are obnoxiously big, and it would be difficult to get them all into combat, and it's difficult to move them all around terrain, and they're not infantry, right? So they have to go round terrain rather than through it. I mean, it's not as much of a problem now that they can always advance and charge, and they can move their 18 on the charge. But yeah, as much as I like Outriders, I'm not sold on the Chaplain on the bike. Someone might end up winning a tournament with it, but I think as I'm running Outriders, I'm just going to be running them in 3s, unled by characters. Perez says, how to get my army list on the show? At the end of the show, when the stream finishes, put your list like this in text format into the comments, And I'll try and, I mean, if you're not a channel member, which I guess because you're new, you're not going to be a green name, but if you don't have a green name, it's going to be a few weeks till I get to it, because the green name people support the channel every month, like as members, so they are they're given priority at the moment just with the new codex. What's your opinion of a unit of 10 jump pack assault intercessors with jump pack chaplain as a replacement for 5 death company with a chaplain? 10 jump assault intercessors is like 160 plus the chaplain. I hadn't really thought of 10 jump pack intercessors plus the jump chaplain, to be honest. 75 points plus 150, so 225 points. What are you getting for 225 points? You're getting like 50 chains or 45 chainsword attacks with +1 to wound. I mean, it doesn't sound too bad. Not many people actually lead the 10 the 10 jump intercessors with a chaplain. Interesting. Yeah, not many people do that. I guess they have mortals as well on the charge. Yeah, I mean, that's not the worst idea. Just we don't see it very often. That's kind of one of the reasons that I do this army show, right? Is because people submit shit that no one's playing and nobody sees, and we can talk about it and discuss about it. Yeah, 10 jump pack intercessors with a jump chaplain. What do people not like about that? I think it actually sounds pretty decent. Ryan, thank you so much. We've got your list later on tonight, Ryan. Thank you so much for the gifted. You're always hitting me up with gifted, dude. That's really appreciated. Cobra says, off-topic question, what would be the best sculpt wings for the new Sangry Guard? I can't kit bash or 3D print. I just bought some. I
have awoken.
I was using them last night. Go to this website, Archie's Forge. Search Crimson Lords, I think. These wings are pretty sick. If you go back and watch my stream from last night, I was literally painting these wings. You get a set of 5 of them for. I don't know what the postage is like. I've never used this website, but I hear good things about it. I actually reached out to the website to see if like I could get an affiliate code or they would speak to me or something. But there, I've plugged them already. Maybe they're going to get back to me. I'm not sure. Brian says, help me out, chat. I'm crazy for thinking 3 Invictor Tactical War Suits is interesting. Ryan, they're too pointy, right? And they're not survivable, and I do not think they actually do that much killing. So I think even with the points dropped to 125, Invictor Tactical War Suits I don't think they're great. I really don't think they're great. I mean, like you said, maybe there's a play there where you do an 8-inch scout move with all 3 of them, and then you do another 8-inch move, and maybe you can do something. It's not the hugest point investment. If you... But my experience of running Tactical War Suits is like... you jump in, you do very little killing with the shooting, then you do very little killing with their melee, and then they just get picked up by the enemy. So I tried running Tactical War Suits last edition when they had like infiltrate, so you could super aggressively forward deploy them, but it just never worked. I think they're probably a little bit more survivable last edition, so yeah. And yeah, their melee weapon's only AP2. So Chandler's list, I think, is pretty good overall. This is the sort of list I would play. And the one thing that I actually want to say about Chandler's list is... So I actually won like a GT in June using Sons of Sanguinius. And Sons of Sanguinius is super similar to Liberator Assault Group. If anything, I think Liberator Assault Group might actually be slightly stronger. So I won a GT running something very similar to this. And the one thing that, like in my current list, I actually only have 2 shooting units, but in my GT winning list, I had 3 shooting units. My 3 shooting units in my GT winning list were Ballistus Dreadnought, and 2 Predator Destructors. And like a Ballistus Dreadnought, a Gladiator Lancer, and a Repulsor. Again, if you math all those things out, they're going to be super similar to what I had, right? In terms of like how much damage they can do and how much range they have. So there is something to be said about like if you do have 3 shooting units, like Ballistus, Lancer, Repulsor, it's like 450 points in shooting. There is something to be said that like that actually does work really well with Blood Angels, because your opponents don't know what to do, right? They don't know if they're trying to take out your shooting units or they're trying to take out your jump pack units, and if they leave one, like if they go like, oh well, we'll go after all the jump pack units, the shooting units can do a lot of damage every turn and take over the game, and vice versa. They go after the shooting units, jump pack units get ignored. And I think that like having that balance, at least in my experience, having like literally just won a GT with it, I felt like it had a really good balance and it made it difficult for my opponents to play against. And I've done that before. Like I think in 9th edition, we used to be able to do that with Dreadnoughts, right? Blood Angels used to want to run like a couple of Dreadnoughts, maybe even, I think the best tournament I ever did, I had 3 Dreadnoughts. I had like 2 of those Volkite Contemptor Dreadnoughts and a Redemptor Dreadnought. So I had 3 Dreadnoughts and had a bunch of jump pack units. And what actually happened in that tournament that I got to the top table to and did really well was the exact same thing happened. It was like my opponents either kill the Dreadnoughts, my jump units like run over them and take over the board, or they go after the jump units and they ignore the Dreadnoughts, and the Dreadnoughts just blow them up from 48 inches each turn. So a list like this actually is like this sort of list by Chandler is my jam. I don't actually pick a favorite list anymore. I used to do that on the Army List show. But I think that like this would be a favorite for me because I would probably play that. I mean, it doesn't help Chandler in terms of like telling him how to make his list better, but I would totally play that list. I think it's cool.
McFatson donated $5 via Super Chat. With the long queue, would it be rude to submit memes? On one hand, people want legit advice. On the other hand, Mephiston babysitting 120 intercessors.
McFatson, you super chat the channel as many times as you want, and you support the channel as well. If you want to submit a list with 120 intercessors in Mephiston, you are very welcome to do that, and I will still review it. I feel like you need to submit a list with like flamers though, because that's what you like. Flamers are your jam, I thought. Brian says it's hard to justify Invictor war suits when Ballistus Dreadnoughts are the same. I mean, that's just the thing, right, Brian? You could pay 390 points on Ballistus Dreadnoughts, right? You sit your Ballistus Dreadnoughts 48 inches away, and you just shoot every single turn. And in some cases, right, let's say you're playing Knights. Knights typically have 24-inch melta range. So any Knight that's getting close to within 24 inches of your 3 Ballistus Dreadnoughts, you focus fire. All 3 Ballistus Dreadnoughts shoot everything they can into that Knight. They blow it up. So the Knights will struggle. Like, if they only have, like, Warglavies and, Helverins? Like, Helverins have 48 inches, but they have autocannons. Autocannons with, like, AP 1 and Strength 9 are never going to drop a Ballistus Dreadnought. I mean, maybe if they have 10 of them and they shoot every turn, sure. But it's going to take them multiple turns to drop a Ballistus Dreadnought with autocannons, because you're only going to wound on 5s. You're only going to fail the save on 3s. If you're towed into cover, you're gonna pass the save on 2s. So I mean, this is how I played my tournament list, where I had 3 tanks or 2 tanks and a dreadnought, all had 48-inch guns, and I actually mathed it out before the tournament that my 48-inch guns could do 7 to 8 damage a turn. So I only paid 400 points for my fire support, and I could do 7 to 8 damage a turn at 48 inches. Let's be real though, like, never once did I do anywhere close to 7 to 8 damage. Like, that would be, you know, the perfect roll and the opponent fails all their saves. What it did mean, though, was at 48 inches, could I do maybe 20 damage and kill an enemy tank every turn? Yes, 100%. So, like, I paid 400 points, and, like, I played the Orcs, and they had, like, a battle bus 48 inches away. Turn 1, I blow up their battle bus. So that's, like, a toughness 12... 20 wound type thing. I don't even know what battle buses. Battle wagons. I just call them battle buses. Battle wagon. Phil, thanks so much for the gifted. Dude, it's a big night of gifted, guys. You're being very generous. Thank you so much. We got up to 49 likes on the stream, so Battle wagon is toughness 10, 16 wounds. So I blew this thing up at like 48 inches turn 1, and the orc player had to unload all his mega knobs in his backfield. That's like a huge win for me, for my Blood Angels, because mega knobs are a fucking nightmare for Blood Angels to deal with. So making him basically say like your mega knobs are going to have to walk from your deployment zone now because you lost your battle wagon turn 1 is huge, absolutely huge. So Chad's list has the ability to do that, and I think that's a good thing to have, right? Alright, on to Gabriel next. Thanks so much. We're going to have so many new gifted members here. If you did get a gifted membership, please come over to our Discord. You get access to our members only room. You get priority on your battle, on your list submissions, so get your list submissions in for the future shows. Thank you very much. Member for 10 months, Phil. Very kind of you. Happy Halloween. The orc party bus. Yeah, it was very satisfying actually to blow up an orc party bus in his deployment zone, like in turn 1, because it's a hard thing for him to hide that party bus because it's huge. So he really struggled to deploy it. I was able to get line of sight on it with all 3 of my vehicles and blow it up from 48 inches away, and that was kind of the play that won me the grand tournament, honestly, because if that battle bus had been able to move into the midboard and protect all those mega knobs, that would have been much more difficult. Gabriel has just arrived on time. Hello, Gabriel. Here's Horace. Horace is here. Thank you so much for the gifted membership. Do appreciate it. And he says, long-time channel follower, love the channeling. My Lamenters have great success over the past 6 months with their Pulsar holding Assault Centurions and Company Heroes. Only sweeter now than lag. Dude, I love hearing about Company Heroes, man. Not many people were running them. I feel like I pioneered them. Maybe I didn't pioneer them, but I mean, I was running them in May. I felt like not many people were running them, and I felt like such a good unit. I love the Company Heroes. I'm a bit sad they're not on my current list, so maybe we'll have to make some changes. I am getting that second Impulsor though, so maybe when the second Impulsor is ready to go on the tabletop, we'll figure out a way to get the Company Heroes back in there. Okay, Gabriel, main idea is to salt as much as possible while keeping decent support and backline defense. Impulsor carries Blade Guard plus a captain. If you haven't been watching my video about Blade Guard, consider the chaplain. I think he's the best choice. I mean, a captain is fine, but consider the chaplain. The Land Raider carries Death Company Marines plus chaplain. Both unit Blade Guard and Death Company loot to secure objectives. The Jump Pack and Jump Pack Chaplain and Dante plus Sangre Guard assault targets seeking opportunities to wipe out loners or overwhelm positions. Lancers and Redemptor provide fire support. Scouts and Intercessors do their thing, sticky objectives and seeking actions and bother. Okay, so we have a captain with Speed of the Primarch. We have the chaplain on foot. We have the chaplain with a jump pack. We have Dante. We have a unit of regular intercessors. Basically, they are going to sticky some objectives. We have an Impulsor, 10 jump pack intercessors, 6 Blade Guard, 10 Death Company on foot. Interesting, we don't see that too often. So you get 2 Eviscerators, a shitload of Chain Swords, and a Power Fist. We have a single Lancer, we have a single Land Raider, we have a Redemptor Dreadnought. We don't actually see that too often at the moment either. We have 1 unit of Scouts, we have the Sangre Guard. Okay, so Sangre Guard are with Dante. The Blade Guard are with the Captain. Death Company on foot with the Chaplain. The Jump Chaplain with Assault Intercessors, which somebody asked a question about earlier, actually, which actually seems not too bad. Hello, Highland Phoenix, how you doing? So you got Scouts, the Impulsor, and Intercessors. Yeah, so you might struggle a little bit in this list in terms of scoring options, right? Like, the way I always look at scoring options is like, I want to have cheap units that can score actions. So that is Scouts, Outriders, Impulsors, Assault Intercessors with jump packs. Is there another one? Maybe like a lone up character or Scouts. Are these the old points? No, because the Sangre Guard are on the correct points. Unless he's copy and pasted something and something is on the old points. I don't think so. The Death Company look like they're on the right points as well now. Yeah, like I feel like, well, what if we're going on pure competitive, Gabriel? I think infiltrators are a much better unit for holding your backfield than intercessors or heavy intercessors. If we're going pure competitive, I think you need to have the infiltrators. Hello, Quicks, what's up? I don't mind running 10 assault intercessors with jump packs with a chaplain. Like, I feel like that their damage output there is somewhat decent, right? Like, because it's like we talked about it already. It's like 45 attacks from the chain swords, +1 to wound, 8 power fists, +1 to wound, mortal wounds when you charge, etc. But I actually think assault intercessors are better in 5s, because you can split them, and typically they're not really a unit that's going, like, they're vulnerable to blast. They don't have the greatest armor. So, like, and when I'm looking at your list, I don't think you have enough scoring options, right? Like, you have scouts, they can score points. You have the impulsor, it could score points. The intercessors could score points, but then you're leaving your backfield exposed. And, like, I don't know if I feel like you can just you can just stick at your home field objective and be like, I'm leaving this objective, but there'll be a bunch of times where the enemy will just deep strike on that home field objective and then you're fucked. So, like, I don't think you can do that. So when I look, like, bottom line, I look at this list and go, like, you got 3 units that you'll score with, which I don't think is enough. I think you need 4 to 6. And I think you need 4 to 6, plus you need to be sitting on a unit of infiltrators for your home field. So because the infiltrators in your home field, they are stuck there. If you play against, like, Grey Knights or something that can deep strike within 3 inches, they will literally drop a Dread Knight 3 inches away and they'll wax your home field. Now, you're not always, maybe you don't have Grey Knights in your meta, so that's not a problem. But my experience tells me when I play Grey Knights, this is what they do every game. They drop, is this it? The Nemesis Dread Knight. They'll deep strike it within 3, so it'll appear 3 inches away from your Inceptors on your home field, so it'll probably be on your home field with its OC of 4. It will shoot you with... This model can be equipped with 2 of the following, but cannot take duplicates. So they usually equip it with a Flamer, so it'll be shooting you with probably, like, the Heavy Incinerator. So that'll be 2d6 shots, strength 6, -1/1, no cover. So if they average, like, 7 shots... wounding on 3s, probably going to lose like a couple of Marines from that. Probably a good chance that you'll lose a couple of Marines for that. And then they'll also probably shoot you with like the heavy Psy Cannon, which is 6 attacks, strength 10, -2, 3 damage. So they probably hit you like 4 times. They probably wound you 3 or 4 times. You probably, fail a save 1 or 2 more times. So realistically, they drop this on your home field objective with its OC4, and they can kill 4 of your intercessors. On a bad day, they'll wipe the whole squad. If they roll really low, maybe you got 3 guys left and you hold the objective, but, like, it's just so fucking risky, man. And if they take your home field objective, then all of a sudden maybe the mission needs you to have your home field objective, you're not scoring it, yada yada yada. It's just an absolute disaster. So I've played Grey Knights where they've dropped 12 inches away, and this fucking cannon alone, 12 inches away, because I guess the Flamer and the cannon still can both hit you. And they've still killed like 3 of my infiltrators. At least I didn't lose my home field objective, right? Because they weren't able to deep strike within 3 inches because of the infiltrator's 12-inch bubble, right? So when I start looking at your list, the first thing I want to say is infiltrators, they're so important. If you're doing competitive play, you kind of can't get away from them. I tried getting away from them for a little while. I was using heavy intercessors. I'm thinking heavy intercessors, tough to 6, better save if they're sitting on an objective, but they're always in cover, and it wasn't enough durability. So I think, like, you have to have the infiltrators. There's no choice. And then you just don't have enough scoring options. The one thing that stands out to me is probably the Redemptor Dreadnought. Like, I don't know if Redemptor Dreadnoughts are worth 210 points. I'm not even remotely interested at 210 points. I would take a Ballistus maybe for 160. Sorry, Brutalis for 160. I'd take a Ballistus for 130. I don't think Redemptor Dreadnoughts are worth 210 points. I talked earlier in the stream about taking the 5-man Death Company with the Chaplain. That's like 205 points. put them in reserve, and I think that's better than the Ballistus Dreadnought, because 5 Death Company on with jump packs with a chaplain, you can guarantee their deep strike, you can use rapid ingress, you can always get in, you can always do damage. Whereas the Redemptor Dreadnought, what's it going to do? Like, the Onslaught Cannon's kind of crap now. You get like 8 shots, strength 5, maybe like 1 AP. They maybe even took the AP away from the Redemptor, did they? Is it 1 AP on the Onslaught? No, it's no AP. So, like, you've got 8 shots. So you hit 5 times. So they're gonna take like 4 saves at no AP, and you got 1 dev wound. So the Onslaught Cannon's garbage now. The Plasma is still too swingy to be good, right? The problem with this Plasma before was it was D6 shots. Well, they made it D6 plus 1. One of the lowest value things you can ever command reroll is the number of shots a weapon gets. That's literally the worst. It's the worst use of your command points possible. But when you roll a 1 on the Plasma, you're like, oh man, 1 shot on the Plasma. Like, it just feels so bad. I actually think Redemptor Dreadnoughts are really hard to field competitively. And this is... I've run multiple tournaments where I've run Redemptors. One of the ways to get round this, like the unreliability with their Plasmas, was to run multiple Redemptor Dreadnoughts. And I mean, you do get those amazing turns where you roll 6s, but my experience tells me you roll 6s when it doesn't matter, and you roll 1s when you really need a good number of shots. So, I think for me, I would possibly get rid of the Redemptor Dreadnought, and I'd probably think about splitting my Assault Intercessors into 2 squads, so that's 2 more action squads, switch out these Incessors for Infiltrators, and then we're talking that you're close to becoming competitive. It's not too bad, but I definitely feel like it's got a couple of weaknesses in there. Do you mean Infiltrators v Inceptor's 3-inch deep strike? If so, the deny bubble always takes precedence. Yes, that's why I'm saying that Infiltrator's ability always takes precedence. Yes, so if anyone's got a stratagem or anything that says you can arrive within 3 inches, the Infiltrators just override all that crap. Their Infiltrators are really good against demons as well, because demons have that Shadow of the Warp nonsense. When it's the Shadow of the Warp, they can deep strike within so many inches. I can't remember exactly, but they can deep strike closer than 9, and Infiltrators just totally shut that down. So that's the interesting thing about taking Infiltrators, right? Like, because if you're playing demons, like, most of the time your Infiltrators sit on your own backfield objective, protecting your backfield objective. If you're playing against demons or something that you know are going to try and do some sort of shenanigans coming forward, you don't have to put the Infiltrators in the backfield objective. You can put like a unit of Jump Assault Intercessors or Outriders or something in the backfield objective, because you're like, the demons aren't going to be coming in behind in my lines. They're going to be trying to come in closer at the front for a shorter charge. So in that case, and Infiltrators do have Infiltrate as well, so you can literally line them up at the front of your DZ and be like, haha, there'll be no shenanigans on the charges here, right? So Infiltrators have multiple ways. What about 3 Ballistus as an assault cannon bus? I don't actually know anyone that's got 3 Ballistus Dreadnoughts. I've got 2. But I think because 3 is so cheap, right? It's sub 400 points for 3 of them. That gives you 6 las cannon shots, and that gives you 6 crack missile shots. Potentially with a bunch of rerolls for free, because these are all 2,000 point armies, Cobra. Because, well, unless someone says a different, most of the lists are 2,000 points. Sometimes people do submit 1,000 point lists. Because the Ballistus has such good range, because it's on a quite durable profile, because you can just tow out of cover and basically sit on a 2-up save ignoring 1 AP, I think, and because it's under 400 points, I think 3 Ballistuses for 390 points as all your fire support. Like, that is just your fire support. You don't bring anything else. I think that's actually not too bad, just because it's so cheap, right? And 6 las cannons and 6 crack missiles every turn. If the opponents are ignoring them, that's a lot of damage. Over the course of the game, that's like 30 las cannon shots and 30 crack missile shots. Like I said, you can also use Oath of the Moment. That's the great thing about Blood Angels, is quite often you've got your Oath of the Moment, you don't really need it on your melee units, so you can use your range units and get Oath of the Moment. Right, next up, next list for tonight. We're going to look at Badger Among Men. He's running Death Kell. Kell, I guess. I don't know. I'm not very good at English, sorry. 1995 points. We're also Liberator Assault Group. Astrath, a Captain on Foot ×2. A Chaplain with Jump Pack ×2. Mephiston, a Librarian with Phobos armor with the Rage-Fueled Warrior. Interesting to put Rage-Fueled Warrior on the Librarian when you've got 2 Captains on Foot and 2 Jump Chaplains, but okay. We have 2 units of Assault Intercessors, 2 units of Impulsors. So basically you're going to have 2 of the Party Bus Impulsors, right? Captain plus Assault Intercessors inside the Impulsor. We're going to have 2 10-man units of Jump Intercessors with Jump Packs. We're going to have a Death Company Dreadnought. We're going to have 10 Death Company with Jump Packs. We're going to have a single Gladiator Lancer. We're going to have Infiltrators. We're going to have Scouts. So after is with the 10 Jumpies, there's a Jump Chaplain attached to each of the regular Jump Squad. There's a Captain attached to each Assault Intercessors, then they go in the Impulsors, and the Librarian with the Infiltrators on the home field objective. Right, for one, if the Librarian in the Infiltrators on the home field objective, do not give them Rage-Fueled Warrior. That's such a waste. Give that to one of the Captains in the Impulsor. Assault Centurions are the most slept on unit ever. I'm using them, Rao. I've used them in every game I've played with Liberator Assault Group. Assault Centurions were really good in Gladius, and they're only better now in Liberator Assault Group, right? Because they get extra attacks and they get extra strength. And in fact, they're kind of the only unit that we've got that does 3 damage per swing. That isn't a character, of course. Okay, so we've got 2 of the Party Bus. We've got the Scouts, we've got the Infiltrators, we have a single Lancer. Like, when I see like a Death Company Dreadnought and a single Lancer, I'm just like, maybe you should just have 2 Lancers. Like, my experience tells me, having played against single Lancer armies, if I come up against a like, just go back to what the question was on chat like 10 minutes ago when someone said they had like, someone was asking like, is 3 Ballistuses decent? If you had 3 Ballistus Dreadnoughts and the enemy of a single Lancer, if you put all the Ballistus Dreadnoughts into that Lancer, like, what's the chances of you killing it, right? Like, you oath a moment Lancer, so you just take, like, your 6 shots, 88% chance to hit, your strength 12, Lancers, so you're wounding on 3s, and your last cannons are EP 3. Let's just, for argument's sake, say that they put their Lancer in cover, so they're saving on a 5 rather than a 6. So they save on a 5. The average is 4.5. Because it's D6 plus 1. Is that right? We do that again. 6 las cannons, 88% chance to hit. Wounding on 66. They're saving on a 5. And then it's 4.5. So the 3 Ballistus' las cannons will do 10 damage to the Lancer. And then let's take the 3 crap missiles as well, or the 3 sets of 2 crap missiles. The crap missiles would wound on 4s. Let's say they're still in cover, they'd save on 4s. And it would be the same. Is it 3 point? What's the profile of the crap missile? Is it just flat D6 or D6 plus 1? Ballistus Dreadnought, hold on. Ranged weapons, Ballistus Dreadnought, crap missile, just D6, so 3.5. So add those 2 numbers together. So 3 Ballistus shooting a Gladiator Lancer does 14 damage. I don't think the Lancer has 14 health. I don't run the... I think it's got 12, right? Yes, so even if you're in cover, if you get shot by 3 Ballistus Dreadnoughts, statistically you are dead. So, this is why I don't rate a single Gladiator Lancer, because the Gladiator Lancer shoots back. should actually do the Gladiator Lancer shooting back. Lancer. Ranged weapons. So he's got the 2 shots from Laser Destroyer. Let's assume that you didn't move, so you hit on 2s. And we can assume that you use Oath of the Moment as well. Why not? So you've got 2 shots. You hit 97% of the time because you didn't move, and you got in the Oath of the Moment reroll. Your strength 14, so you wound 66, but you get to reroll 1 dice. So I think it goes to 77 because you're rerolling 1 dice. Let's assume that the bliss, like I said, the Ballistic Dreadnoughts will all have their toes in cover. So it's only -3 to -4. I mean, we gave the Lancer cover as well, right? So -3 means that you save on 5s. So 66% of the damage goes through, and then it's d6 plus 1, so times 6.5. So the Lancer, like, even if a player with the Lancer player goes first, he shoots 1 Ballistic Dreadnought for 6.5 damage, and then the 3 Ballistic Dreadnoughts just return fire and kill Lancer from full health. So, like, a single Lancer on its own is garbage, but if you had 2 Lancers, then statistically you do actually kill one of the Ballistic Dreadnoughts, right? Because 6.5 times 2 is more than 12, and the Ballistic Dreadnought has 12 health. So this is why a lot of people recommend, if you are going to run Gladiators, you run 2 of them, because one of them will leave a tank at half health. I mean, you will occasionally spike and kill a tank, like that will happen, but it happens so infrequently that half the time, yeah, the Lancer is d6 plus 3, yeah, but you have to take the average, Scott. The average of a d6 is 3.5, so that's why I put 6.5 here, right? So 3.5 plus 3, that's the average. So statistically, you would do 6.5 damage, or 6.4, if we want to be... It would actually be 6.5 because the rounding isn't very good there. That probably actually should be rounded to 1 because these numbers go to, like... I'm only doing the math quickly in my head to, like, 2 decimal places. Obviously, like... It's not 66% chance to hit, is it? It's 66.66666 repeating, or 0.88 repeating 8888888. So yeah, a single Lancer is a bad choice. The maths there just shows you, like if I was playing you as a Blood Angels player and you've taken a single Lancer and I've taken 3 Ballistic Dreadnoughts, yes, I've spent a little bit more, but after turn 1, you've lost your only range firepower and my 3 Ballistic Dreadnoughts are now able to sit 48 inches away. And like we said, they get 12 las cannon equivalents every turn, so you're just going to lose models from 48 inches constantly, and you've got no return fire against that. So I don't like lists that have a single Lancer in it. I don't recommend doing it. I do think 2 is good. I just don't think 1 is good. So the first thing I'd probably do if I'm looking at this list is, like, if we're going to take a Lancer, we have to get another one in there. The Impulsors are good. The captains and the characters inside the Impulsors is good. Jump Intercessors, to me, are better as a 5-man unit than a 10-man unit. This comes from experience of having played them. Blood Angels get a lot of chainsword attacks from a 5-man squad. I feel like there's not that many units that a 5-man squad's going to kill that a 10-man squad is going to be drastically better. What's your opinion on 1 Lancer and 1 Ballistus? Well, I think that's fine as well, right? Like, I don't think you necessarily have to have enough to kill an enemy tank per turn, right? Like, it's nice chrono saying, but you don't necessarily need it. But I do think having if you were just going to take 1 tank, I think it's pointless. It's like 2 or don't take any, right? Like, because when you're only taking 1, what are you going to do? Right, that Lancer shoots my tank, like we just said, 48 inches away. You've done 6.5 damage to my Ballistic Dreadnought in my backfield. Well, you're never going to get anything else in my backfield anywhere close to that to finish that off. So that was literally 160 points for nothing. So I just think 1 is pointless. But if you had 2, yeah, then and I guess if you've got 2, you've got a little bit more chance of maybe getting a little bit of spike in there. Like sometimes things spike just a few points of damage over, and suddenly it's good. I mean, Marius just said in chat, 1 Lancer, 2 Ballistas. Yeah, some combo of vehicles that gives you something between like 300 and 400 points is the sweet spot that I think that we are in right now. And for me, it's just reinforced by the fact that, like, I went to a tournament with 400 points of fire support and I won the tournament. I played a lot of like really difficult armies, and I had 3 ranged units, right? And like I said, for that list, I had 7. I could do 7 to 8 points of damage at 48 inches. So I think that's really meaningful to think about as well. 2 Vindicator tanks is not that bad either, Phil. You're right. Vindicator tanks are pretty beefy. So yeah, I think that if this was me, I'd try and get that second Ballistus in. I'd probably try and split up one of these unit of jump intercessors, because I don't know if I feel like they are good enough. And then I think we're maybe... in this list, I think we're actually maybe needing like another another melee damage dealer, right? Because I often say as well, if you want to get the most out of Liberator Assault Group, you need to have 1,200 points minimum of units that benefit from Liberator Assault Group, right? So like you've got the 2 captains, the 2 assault intercessors, that's the best part of 300 points. You got these 2 jump intercessors unit, that's 600 points. You got the Death Company unit, that's like 800 points. Arguably, you could say this Death Company Dread benefits from it as well, so you're like 1,000 points. But I think that you have to drop either some of those Jump Intercessors or the Death Company Dread to add the second Lancer. So at that point, you're only at like 800 points of strong melee units that are benefiting from Liberator Assault Group. I guess you've got a couple of characters here, maybe, so it's maybe a little bit higher. But I think that like this unit is missing... My experience tells me that 1 unit of Death Company with 10 man is not going to be enough, because sometimes shit hits the fan. For example, in like, I've had games where I lost like a whole Death Company. Like, everybody makes mistakes. You know, I had a game where I was confident on my Death Company's positioning, and I put them in the position, and it actually turned out to be a really bad position, and I lost pretty much the whole squad in like one of the turns. And it was, and maybe before then I hadn't figured out like how much melee strength I needed in my lists, and having lost that entire Death Company, suddenly I felt like such on the back foot in that game. I was like, I don't know if I can win this game now, because I've like the Death Company have to do, they're my one big damaging unit, and I lost them super early, like lost them in turn 1 before they did anything, or lost them in turn 2 before they did anything. And I mean, you could sub in Canis Rex, yeah, sure. I mean, I know he just got nerfed, but you could put Canis Rex in a Blood Angels list. It's not the worst idea in the world. I do kind of think with big knights, though, you are putting a lot of your eggs in one basket, right? Because, like, one of 2 things happen. The big knight survives the whole game and kills everything, or it gets whittled down and stuff, and then all of a sudden it's ineffective, and it's kind of, and all your, you know, it's hard to hide a big knight. The second they see it, they'll just throw everything they have at it, because they know that if you lose it, it's such an important piece sometimes to your list. Like, I actually find it harder to play knight players when they have lots of little knights. Like, I'm more scared of a list that has, like, 12 armigers than one that has, like, a Castellan, a Valiant, and, like, 6 armigers. Like, I'd much rather fight the one that's got the 2 giant knights. Because I think that, like, if I can nuke those 2 big knights, then I just feel so much more confident, where it's like, if there's armiger spam all over the board, it's much harder to deal with, I feel like. Yeah, so Badger Among Men, I think this is an okay list. I think there's definitely some improvements to be made. And another thing I definitely don't like is put your Raged Fuel Warrior on an offensive character. There's literally no point having it on a librarian that's in your deployment zone that can't be targeted in a deep strike, in an anti-deep strike Blood Bowl. You're not going to get very much value out of this. You get huge value if you add it to one of these captains. So do that. Okay, Ryan is the next list for tonight. Ryan's already been in the chat tonight, dropping like gifted subs like a maniac, like he always does. So Ryan, thanks so much for that. It'll feel good to hopefully give you some pointers on your list. As long as the big knight allows me to trade decent points, I'm fine with it being the target. I mean, that's fair. That's one of the reasons that, like, Terminators, I think, will get a bit of a resurgence, because like a lot of people will be able to use Terminators as a distractions Carnifex. You know, people will teleport Terminators into the middle of the board early, they'll have fight first, and people will be happy if the enemy are shooting Terminators, because Terminators are super durable in cover. Okay, so Ryan says, assuming with the meta war gear on things to avoid bloat, in this message. What do you think of this? It's very killy. It's got a ton, not got a ton of scoring, but maybe enough with the impulsors. And I don't have anything to take the Sangregard place in the repulsor, including the Sanguinar, just to try him out, as he could be switched out easily in the future. Okay. We've got Dante, we've got Astaroth, we've got Blood Angel's Captain with the Rage-Fueled Warrior, and he is with Assault Intercessors and the Impulsor. We have a Chaplain with Speed of the Primarch with a Blade Guard, and they are in the Impulsor. I think double Impulsor is going to be very strong like this. I think both these units inside Impulsors are kind of awesome. We've got the Sanguinar. We've hung on to the Jump Intercessors with Jump Packs. Sorry, the Jump Intercessor with the Jump Packs. Yeah, of course they've got Jump Packs. The Assault Intercessors with Jump Packs. At 90 points. I still think they're good at 90 points. Infiltrator Squad, a Scout Squad. I normally run a lot more MSU, so it feels wrong. I also consider dropping the Death Company and the Sanguinar to put in 6 Aggressors with Flamers, another unit of Scouts to take the Sangregard place in the Repulsor. There will be a lot of 3-wound bodies in that list. Okay. Have I got the whole list here? Am I missing something? Oh, right, you've just put them together, right? Dante, the Sangregard inside the Repulsor. Astaroth with the Death Company, the Chaplain with the Impulsor, the Sanguinar, the Assault Intercessors, the Infiltrators, the Scouts. Yeah, so you kind of do have 4 scoring units in this list because the Sanguinar can add to the 2 units of Jump Packs and the unit of Scouts for scoring options. I do think that you're maybe right, though. The Repulsor in this list feels not wrong, but because it is the only transport, like, the Repulsor is a transport, but it's your only ranged firepower. And its ranged firepower is not good enough. Like, you can't... Like, a regular Repulsor, having played a regular Repulsor a bunch of times, I end up using Oath of Moment on the defensive array to kill, like, Battle Sisters or something. Its main cannon, which is a single shot las cannon, twin linked, and its las talon, which is like a 36-inch las cannon but strength 10. It's just no, there's no reliability. Like, it's basically 3 las cannons, but 2 of them are at strength 10. There's no rerolls. I mean, I guess the twin linked has a reroll, but there's no rerolls to hit. It feels to me like, having run a Repulsor a bunch of times, if it's your only fire support, it's almost like, I'd almost just say don't take it in this list. I'd probably just, I think in this list I'd probably lose it, and I think I would put, I think I'd put Dante in his Sangregard and Astaroth in the Death Company, and maybe 1 unit of Assault Intercessors with Jump Packs into reserve. So basically, you've got your 2 Impulsors on the board, you've got your Infiltrators on your home field objective, you've got your Scouts on a side field objective, you've got 1 unit of Assault Intercessors to maybe be that unit that, like, jumps forward and does an action or something in early turn. You got the Sanguinar for the Deep Strike Arrival. But yeah, I think if the Repulsor is the only shooting thing that you've got, then I think I would just lose it and put Dante and Astaroth into reserve. If I was going to lose the Repulsor, I'd probably consider something like... I'd probably go scoring units, so Outriders or another unit of Assault Ints plus Jump Packs. In fact, you could probably do a squad of both. I've been having quite a lot of luck with the double Outrider squad, though, because I just think they have a little bit more durability. Here's a dumb question. Can Scouts go inside Impulsors now? Is that... What keywords do... I actually don't know. I mean, not many people do it, but I'm just curious. Because another Impulsor would actually be not the worst idea for scoring unit here. I don't like the Repulsor jump combo. It's gamey. What do you mean gamey? Gamey tome? I don't... what do you mean, Krychek? They're just infantry. Oh, so scouts don't have tactical or phobos, so they actually can't go inside impulsors. Wow. It's a little bit silly, isn't it? They can't go inside. No, that's a bit silly. Games Workshop like to do silly things with vehicle restrictions. It only took them like 3 years to get rid of some of the restrictions for the impulsor, didn't it? Yeah, I guess I would do maybe like another unit of assault intercessors with jump packs, or a unit of outriders, and sit somewhere like that. I guess you're leading into the all melee build at that point. I suppose there could be an argument for like... I was going to say, is there an argument for like another impulsor, another unit of assault intercessors, another captain, and lose one unit of the jumpy ones? Possibly, actually. Because if you have another captain, another unit of assault intercessors, that's a lot more damage. And then the impulsor gives you like another unit that's just going to be able to do actions and move around and just be annoying. I mean, there's nothing gamey about it, Krychek. I guess it's just like a battle bus, right? Like you just basically, the way you play the impulsors, you want to move it forward 10 inches turn 1. So that your Sanguinary Guard are just ready to come out of it with a bunch of extra movement and a bunch of extra threat. Egan, thank you so much for becoming a channel member. I do appreciate it. We have smashed our October goal of... my goal is usually 9 members a month. This month we've had 19. That's crazy. I think that might be my best month for new members. So thanks so much, guys. Appreciate it. I think there might actually be an argument here for losing the Impulsor and one unit of Assault Intercessor with jump packs. Just go for that. Yeah, or there might even be an argument for lose the Impulsor, get another Chaplain with 5 Death Company Marines for 205 points, lose one unit of Assault Intercessor with jump packs, add a second Scout Squad. So you're less reliant on Assault Intercessors with jump packs for trading, and you're going to trade with another unit of Death Company with jump packs. I think I might like that more, actually. Just because... like, if you're doing the all-melee build, you do want, like, a bunch of fast all-melee units. You already got the Sanguinary Guard and the Death Company as your big, fast, killy units. But I think having another 5-man Death Company with a Chaplain is a unit that gets quite killy. 5-man Death Company with a normal jump Chaplain, right? They can still do 44 damage in melee. And that's before you factor in the fact that the Chaplain does mortal wounds. 50% of the time, I guess. Assault Sanguinary Priest plus Captain. Sorry, I'm not fully up to date with what you're talking about, Wisp. What's your question? I have an unopened box of Sanguinary Guard, and I'm getting the new Combat Patrol next week. What do I do with the old kit now? You make your new kit so much cooler because you've got all the old conversion bits that everyone's really jealous that you've got. The old kit only makes 5. Yeah, the old kit only does make 5, but I would use... Hey, Brian, thank you so much for becoming a channel member. I would use, like, well, the old kit does only make 5. It's got a banner in it, right? The banner's pretty cool. You could put that on one of the new models. There's a bunch of heads that are pretty cool. You can put some of those heads on the new models. The heads and the shoulder pads are completely interchangeable with Primaris. So you've got cool shoulder pads that are better than the ones that come in the new box. So I would use the old box. I know it only makes 5 and there is 6 in the new box, but I would use 5 of my new guys would have heads, and I guess well, because the old box comes with 10 shoulder pads, I would spread them out across you guys. So basically all your new guys will... Sorry, my ear is really bothering me right now. I'm getting old. I get earwax. It's fucking annoying is what it is. Yeah, I would use the old box to make your new box so much cooler, because the new box is lacking a lot of flavor. A lot of people are buying the third-party bits to give the new box flavor. You won't have to do that, War Thunder. If you really don't want the old box, put it on eBay I guarantee you on eBay, an unopened box of Sangre Guard will probably sell. You'll probably be able to get 2 times RRP for it easily. Yeah, look at that. Holy shit. Someone's trying to sell the old box here for 159. Here's a tip for if you ever use eBay. You can search for something, right? Like Sangre Guard. And then you can scroll down this list on the left and you can go to... We were talking about this last night. I guess I'm the cheapest YouTuber in the world because I know how to get all the good deals. You can go down and click completed items. So you can actually see what's sold, right? So here's a box. OOP I think means does OOP not mean like it's still wrapped? So here's a box that went to auction for the original Sangre Guard. $50 plus postage. So like well over double, because I think this box used to be about 20. Oh my god, this sold. So someone sold 30 sets of the Sangre Guard dice for $400. Wow. Okay. Here's another box sold at 67. Here's another box sold at 69. So basically, if you have a box of the old Sangre Guard, you can sell it. You can actually open it up and look at that. You can sell a banner on its own for $5. Like you make a kill, like the heads for £6. You could actually probably break it down and make more money, but it might be just more convenient to just sell the old box as a winner. If you've got, there's one sold for 84. Yeah, if you're not in a rush to sell it, out of production or out of print. Oh, thanks guys. Yeah, so these out of print boxes, people still want them, dude. There's so many good bits on these. Like, I was gonna say, like, I'm the cheapest YouTuber on the planet. Yeah, I mean, if you can't get rid of it, I'll literally pay you retail price for it tomorrow. Send it over to me. You know, we can work something out. You know, like we should really be more on the ball here, guys. We should know when Games Workshop are going to discontinue some of these old kits, like Vanguard Veterans. Like, how much longer are Vanguard Veterans going to be around for? If you can afford it, you should just buy 10 sets of Vanguard Veterans and just put them in your loft or your basement, wherever. Because you can come back in like 2 years. Like, what do you get when you put money in the bank? Like 2% interest, 5% interest? You could literally get 100% in like a year buying some of the cool stuff that's going out of print. It was so obvious with Sangre Guard as well. That was like the easiest money maker ever. But yeah. Cool. Okay, so yeah, I think that's what I would do, Ryan. If you want to submit another list in the coming weeks, how much longer are Reavers going to be available? I mean, they're Primaris, but they are like 7 years old, so I think they've probably got another good 7 to 10 years in them. But the Reaver helmet's already ridiculous on eBay. Rincall has been printing out the Chaos Lord parts. How many Sangre Guard? I mean, the new Combat Patrol comes with 6 Sangre Guard, right? Sold both my unopened Death Company and Sangre boxes, as I much prefer the newer kits. Much better looking, in my opinion. Well, I mean, Andrew, you're more than welcome to your opinion, I guess. I actually just think it's... Hey Ed, thanks so much for becoming a channel member. I think, I mean, we've got like 13 new members tonight or something, guys. Bear in mind, when you become a member, you get access to our members-only Discord. Please head over there, join the members-only Discord. It'd be lovely to see you all over there. If you like the new models more than the old ones, more power to you. I kind of think that maybe, like, I'm stuck in the past a little bit. Like, my favorite movies are like the movies I grew up with for the 80s and the 90s, you know, like my favorite video games are probably from the early 90s, you know, so it's like, maybe for me, I'm just one of these people that's like stuck in the past. And I can fully admit I don't really like change. So if my opinion on people liking the new models more is, if you like them more, great, more power to you. I know I don't like change. I can admit that. but I still want like the change, if that makes sense. So I like my old stuff. Can I bring 6 Blade Guard with characters in pods? What do you mean pods? Drop pods? Not many people are playing drop pods at the moment, must admit. Okay, we're going to look at Noble Actual. This is the last list for tonight. It's called Fuck It, We Ball. People have interesting list names. 1985 points. We got Chaplain and Terminator Armor with Fight First. We got Dante. We got Lamartes. We got Assault Intercessors with an Impulsor. Interesting, we don't have any character leading them because obviously we know a character leading them. The captain is crazy good. We got the Ballistus Dreadnought. We got a Brutalis Dreadnought. We got Death Company with jump packs. We got a squad of infiltrators. So the Death Company with jump packs will be with Lamartes. We have the Predator Destructor. We have the Repulsor. We have the 6 Angry Guard. They will be with Dante. We have the 5 Terminators with Power Fists and the Cyclone Missile Launcher. We got 5 Vanguard Veterans. Not many people still playing the Vanguard Veterans these days. But we do have some. So Dante is in the Repulsor. The Assault Marines are in the Impulsor. The Deep Strike Lamarta is in. The Brutalis Dread in reserves. The Chaplain with Terminators in Strategic Reserve. Interesting. Okay, this is a slightly different list of what we're seeing tonight. So the Chaplain with Fight First with the Terminators I think is super great. Lamartes with 10 Death Company we know is really strong. Dante plus 6 Angry Guard is really strong. The Impulsor with the Assault Intercessor squad without the Captain feels like a bit of a misplay because the Captain adds an insane amount of value to them. So like the thing that I'm seeing here first is like we want to get a Captain in there. We really do want to do that. Ryan, thanks so much. You're more than welcome for the review. Didn't think of the Chaplain plus 5 Death Company. I hadn't thought of the Chaplain plus 5 Death Company much before this week, honestly, but like, it's actually still really good, right? Because like, the Chaplain plus 5 Death Company. Let me just bring up the slides that I made this week real quick, just so I'm not, because I'm sure I mentioned it in my slide for this week's tactics video. You know what's actually funny is like sometimes when I need to know, like when I'm building my own lists, I find myself watching my own YouTube videos to try and remember like, you know, like to try and get like, you know, I guess I know I've got an okay YouTube channel when I can watch my own videos. By the way, all you channel members get access to all these slides. You don't need to watch the videos once you've watched them. You can just download the slides. There's a link in the community tab. Where did I'm sure I mentioned it. Yes, here it is. So the Chaplain of the Death Company, before the nerf, were 215 points. They were able to do a maximum of 50 damage. And honestly, they were probably too efficient, right? Now they are at 205 points. You get 8 Power Fist attacks from one guy. You get 4 Eviscerator attacks. You get 10 Chainsword attacks. The Chaplain gets 5 Power Fist attacks, assuming you give him a Power Fist. And then you get 1 mortal wound every fight phase on average, because on a 4-up he fights, and it typically does 2 mortal wounds, so on average it's 1 every phase. So it's still 44 damage from a 205 point unit potential. I think that's still really, really strong. Like, there's not many units that have a 12-inch move and 44 damage with rerolls to hit and plus 2 strength on all their weapons. Like, I think it's really, really good still for 205 points. I'd honestly kind of not been playing it. And oh, it's worth saying as well, you're plus 1 to wound on all those weapons as well. So you're plus 2 strength, plus 1 attack, plus 1 to wound, and reroll all hits. I think 44 damage for 205 points is totally good. Sorry, so let's just jump back into this for 2 seconds. He's got the Ballistus Dreadnought, he's got Brutalis Dreadnought, 10 Death Company Infiltrators, the Predator, the Repulsor, the Sangry Guard, the Terminators, and the Vanguard Veterans. So to me, I guess, because he has a Ballistus, a Repulsor, and a Destructor, based on what we were talking about earlier, he has some like pretty good, like you put all 3 of those things together, you've spent like 440 points, but you actually have like somewhere in the region of like 5 las cannons and a hunter killer missile and a las talon and like 6 autocannon shots and like 2 crack missiles. So you actually have quite a good amount of ranged firepower here. You get the Terminators, which are super cool and durable. You get the Sangry Guard, which are killy. You get the Death Company Marines, which are killy. You get the Infiltrators to the backfield. So the thing that I think this list missed is potentially scoring options, right? So I think like the Vanguard Veterans and the Brutalis Dreadnought, I think probably more likely the Brutalis Dreadnought. The Brutalis Dreadnought for me is the one that I think I would cut, because if we cut the Brutalis Dreadnought, we can add the captain to the squad of Assault Intercessors. We can give the captain the Rage Field Warrior because he had 15 points, and we can use the extra points that we had there to either add another unit of Jump Intercessors, or we can add a unit of Outriders. And I think both those choices round out the scoring potential a little bit, and I think scoring is what he is struggling for on this list, because the way I see it, scoring wise, he has the one unit of Vanguard Veterans, and maybe like the Impulsor once it's dropped off its troops. So like we're really short on scoring options here. Our killing options are good, our overall list construction is pretty good, but we need more units that can do scoring. And I think you can't really drop the Vanguard Veterans, because if you drop them, what are you going to put in? You're going to put in an 80-point or a 90-point Jump Intercessor squad or Outriders or something. You're not actually going to get really any more value. So I think we drop the Brutalis Dreadnought, we add the Captain, which we know gives insane value to the Assault Marines, and then we add one more scoring option. We might actually still be a little bit short on scoring options here. You know, if we compare this to my list, I would say that we are down like one scoring option. Like Vanguard Veterans are kind of almost the cost of 2 units of Scouts. I don't think Vanguard Veterans are that great anymore, but I think that's kind of the direction that I would go to try and improve this list, because I think on top of the Infiltrators, you need 4 units of scoring options. At least 4. 4 is the bare minimum on top of the Infiltrators. Rinkai has been enjoying Reavers. A bunch of people have been enjoying Reavers at 75 points. Cambo in the chat has been super enjoying Reavers. So some people have been really thinking Reavers might be good. But Scouts still always seem to be really interesting, just because they get a lot of with Liberator Assault, when using a modal strat, do you get the +1 attack and +1 strength, says you give into the Red Thirst? I'm not sure which strat you're talking about, but if you're talking about Savage Echoes, you can get +1 strength and +1 attack. Do I give it? Are you asking me if I give into it? Or are you asking in general what the rule is? Because you can get both. Like, anytime you give into the Red Thirst, you get both benefits of the stratagem. Richard Whale says the Blood Angels Chaplain with the lovely wings could be worth a bit down the road. You're right, Richard. That is such a cool chaplain. And I don't know if they're... I assume at some point he's going to get replaced with a Primaris Chaplain. And that'll be so sad when he goes away, because... but I mean, he's firstborn, so there's a chance... You know, he is so cool, though. His jump pack is still one of the coolest. It's like one piece, and we don't really ever... We've never seen that jump pack on anyone else except him. In some ways, it was kind of a waste for Games Workshop to make it for just him, I guess. But maybe they sold a bunch of the models just because people loved that jump pack so much. My friend is saying that you get both of the modes and the detachment rule of +1 attack and +2 strength as well. So let me just clarify this real quick. This might be you're talking about Savage Echoes. Savage Echoes is a stratagem that you can only use when your opponent charges you, right? So use it during your opponent's charge phase to get +2 strength or attacks and give into the Red Thirst and get both. You only get your +2 strength and your +1 attack when you are charging. So you cannot stack Red Thirst with Savage Echoes, right? You give into the Red Thirst, sure. But I suppose they should have probably changed that and called it something slightly different from what they called up here, right? Because these rules don't interact with one another. It's not like you give in to the red thirst and get this rule as well. No, they're just saying this from like a lower perspective. Like, you can instead choose to give in to the red thirst, and in this, do you know what? It actually, when you mouse over it, it says the red thirst. You're not getting that rule. It just means like, what it means is, if you give in to the red thirst, you become battle shocked, and you add 1 to strength on attacks. It doesn't also give you +2 strength, +1 attack. That would be crazy. What's the Discord link? Just ! Discord should give you it in the chat. But yeah, that is a little bit crazy. So no, when you give into, so they worded this badly. Basically, just when you give into the red thirst in the stratagems, essentially what it is meaning is you get both units of the stratagems. You're not actually getting anything to do with the detachment rule. It's just a bad it's just bad wording. Games Workshop love to just throw us curveballs and keep us on our toes. Hey, that's why I'm here, to keep you guys right. So thank you so much for watching tonight's army show. If you want to get your list on a previous show, you need a DeLorean and you need to go at 88 miles an hour. If you want to give it on a future show, what you need to do is you need to the Discord link hasn't been working. Okay, give me 1 sec. I can get it. I can just make a new. What, the bot hasn't been given the Discord link correctly, or do you know what, the bot's Discord link might be just out of date. I'll just put a new one in the chat. I'll update the bot. I swear to God, my bots are rubbish. They always my bots always stop working. Right, there's an updated Discord link that should get you in. That's why the Emperors can stay high. Yeah, so if you want to get your list in a future show when this stream ends, put your list in the comments. Same as the list you've seen tonight. I just need them in like a text file. Use the Warhammer app on your phone or something. Just export it out in text and dump it in one of the comments and just say I would like my list reviewed in a future Army List show. I hope you guys have a great evening. Thanks so much for watching. I've got a couple of videos coming up this week as always, so I'll see you at some point. And hopefully on Wednesday night we're going to have a live battle report. I know we've had to cancel the last couple, but we should. My opponent actually cancelled me in again on Wednesday, but I think I've got a new opponent. So hopefully we'll have a game on Wednesday night. So hopefully I'll see some of you guys live on Wednesday. Have a great weekend. Thanks so much for the gifted memberships as always, and welcome to the new people. Please make sure you get into Discord, and if you've got a gifted membership, use it to get into your members room. Cool. See you guys soon. Peace.